With the first half of the seasons done and dusted, we're going to take a look at the Arrowverse shows and how they're all shaping up at this stage. So the big drama point for Arrow at the end of the mid-season was the team kind of fracturing and going off in their separate ways and, you know, not being happy with one another. I'm not too worried about this. This is usual, you know, Arrow and Arrowverse stuff where the team will get separated. They'll find a way to bring it back together. It's just drama for drama's sake. But it'll be interesting to see, you know, how the relationships are affected moving forward. Because there was some double crossing and all that going on, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It was cool to see the kind of team of bad guys that they built towards the end of that episode. I think it's always cool when you bring together a team of bad guys who've kind of been built up individually either throughout the season or throughout the series. It's very interesting to see where they'll go with that. Is there real potential there, or is it just kind of a, you know, another letdown? I don't know, we'll see. But there's some cool ideas in play there. The other thing worth talking about that's a follow-on from last season is Vigilante. One of the big mysteries last year was who was Prometheus and who was Vigilante, and that's something they did really well, throwing everyone off the scent, you know, thinking that Vigilante was Adrian. Now we're gonna got who is Vigilante, and then we get to this season and I don't think I was the only one who was underwhelmed by the reaction that Vigilante was just some guy that the Black Canary dated, you know, or her ex-partner or whatever. I don't know, that's like, this is some character that I don't know and that I don't really care about. So yeah, it was kind of underwhelming. I was hoping for something big, character we knew from the past, or someone who had kind of, you know, big repercussions to the people already on the team, not just this one character who's only just recently joined the team. So I don't know, we'll see how that'll play out, but Vigilante was kind of underwhelming, I felt, that reveal. The cool thing from the start of the season though about Arrow that's worth mentioning is the return of Deathstroke, or at least the appearance we got of Deathstroke. Manu Bennett is an awesome, you know, Slade Wilson is an awesome Deathstroke, so to see him get to come back after so long away and get some decent, you know, story time, get him telling the story of finding his son and getting almost an entire episode, or maybe two it was, to just kind of him and his backstory, that was really cool. A lot of people said that he deserves his own show, and I agree with that. I'd love to see a Deathstroke show with Manu Bennett, but yeah, his story kind of ended with him walking off into the shadows, and essentially, I believe, I read something that Manu Bennett said that this is going to be his last time as Deathstroke for a little while. I don't know if this is another one of those DC little kind of bands they've put in. We know about in the past with Arrow, they had a Suicide Squad story that they were going to do. They were told, no, you can't do that anymore because of the movie that came out. And now we see kind of, you know, the Deathstroke, he's making his first appearance in the movies. Whether that's going to go ahead now with the DCEU, we don't know. But I don't like how the DC film department kind of says, no, you can't use this character, no, you can't use this character. You know, at the moment the TV shows are doing better than the movies, so just let them have free reign and let them do what they want, especially with Manu Bennett's Deathstroke. Like, I'm not going to care if I have one Deathstroke in TV, one in movies. It doesn't matter to me. So just let them tell great stories, whether it be on TV or in movies. Just let them do it. So I almost managed to make it through an entire Arrow video without mentioning Olicity. So shout out to John BK34 for reminding me. I'd almost managed to repress the memories of Olicity over the course of this mid-season break, but your little reminder made me realise how important it is that I've got to say something about it. Now, I don't like Olicity, and no one should, and if you do, you should probably go and seek mental help. I think my biggest problem with Olicity at the moment, one of the things that really strikes me as being quite annoying about this, is just the producers and the writers, their entire determination just to push this concept, really. I think we didn't like, a couple of seasons ago they tried this and we didn't like it, and, you know, everyone's voiced their opinion and said, no, we don't like this. And so they made the right decision by separating Oliver and Felicity and not even bothering with the idea anymore. That was the right decision. And now here we are a couple of years later, and they've just gone and pushed the same idea all over again. I don't understand the logic here. I think if the fans didn't like it a couple of years ago, why did they think after just a few years later, now suddenly we're going to like it? I think part of the big problem here for the producers that they're maybe not seeing is that when Olicity happened the first time around in season 3 or 4, I think it was, a lot of people kind of
chose to leave the show. They left the show behind because they weren't happy with it. And this is something that can happen. So if fans aren't liking your decisions and you persist with them, it really can kind of disillusion your fan base. And I think that's a potential problem we could see here again. And the last thing Arrow needs now, 6 seasons in, is to, you know, really kind of water down their fan base. It's already lost a bit the first time around, and they could do it again, so we don't want to see that. I think the other big problem about one thing that really annoyed me was in the crossover. At the end of the crossover, we've had Barry and Iris' wedding interrupted by Nazis the first time. We've had their little, whatever it is, pre-wedding dinner kind of thing they did at the coffee house. They had that interrupted, or kind of the spotlight taken off them a little bit there, with Felicity basically telling Oliver she didn't want to marry him or whatever it was, and drawing attention away there. As if that wasn't enough, then Felicity wants to step in again and ruin Barry and Iris' moment with wanting her and Oliver to share the moment with her. Now, I'm no expert on women, but I'm pretty sure there's no woman out there, or maybe a few, but probably not many women out there, who would want to share their big day, or their big moment, their wedding. Iris and Felicity are not good enough friends to, you know, for Iris to be happy with that. There's no way she's pleased with what happened there. It's just more of the same stuff from Felicity. It's just her being so just annoying and being so self-centered. And again, it's like, I'm not the biggest, you know, fan of Iris and Barry being together. That's kind of weird and vaguely, well, slightly incestual, even though it's not really, but it kind of is, like, just a little bit. But even, you know, even I'm someone who's not a fan, it's like, don't ruin their moment because Felicity wants to steal the spotlight again. If we're gonna have to put up with another whole season of Felicity, it's not gonna work. And I think the producers and writers, or whoever it is, their constant determination to try and force us into liking it when the fans have already said we don't like it. You can't make us like it. Stop trying to push it.
I like what I've seen from each of the shows in the Arrowverse so far this season. There hasn't really been, or maybe I've just forgotten about them, but there hasn't really been any big mysteries. Like, you know, last season on Arrow we had who is Prometheus, we had who is Savitar on Flash. There hasn't really been that big mystery that we're so used to seeing in one of these shows. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if, like, you know, what they can do with the second half of the season is to keep up the interest. But I think each of the shows is kind of setting themselves up for a pretty good season, or at least decent season. There aren't any shows that are doing really badly, I don't think. So it'll be cool to see where they go from here and if they can kind of keep these shows on that high. The other thing to keep in mind is that we've got Black Lightning coming, which apparently isn't connected to the Arrowverse at the moment, but I'm sure it will, should it, you know, be successful or what have you. So yeah, I'm interested to see that series. That show actually looks kind of cool. It'll be very cool to have a much older kind of hero, especially if you did interact with these other characters from the Arrowverse. It would be cool to kind of see how a more mature hero works with those other younger heroes. Black Lightning will be interesting to see just how that show pans out, because it looks kind of good. There's something that looks a little off with it, you know, the suit's very, you know, clunky and looks very heavy, but other than that, the whole setup of the show looks very cool, and it looks quite different to what we've seen already from the other 4 shows. So I'll be interested to see where it goes from here, and hopefully it won't be too long before they decide to move it in with the Arrowverse, or at least as one of the, you know, universes that are in the multiverse. But who knows, we'll have to wait and see for the future.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Make sure, before you go, hit that like button down below, give us a big thumbs up, subscribe if you can, that's very important. Leave a comment, let's get a discussion going about, you know, the topic of the video, and make sure you share the video around with your friends. Spread the word, help us out here, okay? But thanks again for watching.